evening, everyone. So sorry, came online a bit late. I've actually been waiting to join since about 8. Um, right, since about a few minutes to 9. But unfortunately, the network wouldn't let me. But eventually, thank God I am here. Thank God we are all here, and we can commence with the immediate effect. So I welcome you all on board with another time with Tutor Ayo, the enthusiastic tutor. And in today's tutorial, it's going to be a continuation of the course ACC203, and we'll be talking about the subsidiary books. All right, and today we're going to be particular. We're going to take our bearing particularly from the purchase book. With this being said, let's get straight into it. All right, so we have just a moment. Okay, the purchase Daybook as ACC203, and okay, let me just, I think I'll take it from here instead. There we have the purchase Daybook, and not to forget, we treated the sales Daybook. Miss Ajuma, good evening. It's great to have you on board. All right, so we will be taking the purchase Daybook today, taking our bearing from there. And purchase Daybook is one of the subsidiary book. All right, one of the subsidiary book. Okay, is one of the subsidiary book. All right, and it's a document just like the rest of them. It's also a document, and this document is exchanged between the buyer and the seller, which are binding on both parties. All right, now purchase Daybook happens to be one of the subsidiary book, and also it happens to be one of the source documents. All right, it is one of the source documents. Don't forget, we said the source document. We refer to the source document as a document that is exchanged between the buyer and the seller, which are binding. All right, binds both the buyer, binds both the seller. All right, and when we say source document, it's not just about the binding alone. It's also They are also the document that receive information. They give first-hand information about transactions before the information in the source document is now being moved into a proper, all right, account. Now we have that as that. And also we talked about the source document being a book of original entry. All right, the source document is a book of original entry. All right, so in this unit now we'll be taking our bearing from the purchase Daybook. All right, so now before we talk about purchase Daybook, there is something we need to talk about, which is invoice. I don't know, can we remember, all right, what did I say about invoice in our last class? What did I say about invoice? Now, if you remember very well, I said invoice here has been misappropriated. Okay, it has been confused for receipt. All right, invoice and receipt, they are two different things. Or payment voucher, they are two different things. The majority of the classes I had today, I don't have the keynote, so I had to make the keynote. But if not, I noticed that usually the network is always having this issue around 8:30, all right, below. And I tried recording these classes before now, but you just have to do something. Let's just quickly do one or two things before the network misbehaves again. Okay, so I was saying that the invoice, remember what I said about invoice, that invoice was has been confused, all right, with receipt. Now, I said in our last class, one of our classes, that invoice is used to record the sale of goods on credit. All right, the sales of goods on credit. Are we together? Or when you go and buy, sales now in respect of the seller. All right, but you as a buyer now, you also have your invoice as a result of these are the things you have collected on credit that you will pay for, all right, within a specific time. All right, so now this invoice, which is exchanged between buyers and seller of goods and services, all right, for goods and those that render services. All right, now the seller, the invoice is used to prepare the sales day book. All right, used to record sales on credit, all right, to the seller, all right, used, all right, to record or proof, all right, of goods purchased on credit, all right, to the buyer. So this same document can mean different things to different persons. To the seller now, the seller is going to use this as a document, all right, use it as a recording of a document that, okay, so goods I sold, but I have not, Miss Green, good evening, I sold so goods at this time, all right, of the week, at this day of the week, but I have not collected money. All right, while on the side of the buyer, I bought so goods from so venture, so date that I'm yet to pay for. Now, to the seller now, the invoice is used to, all right, prepare the sales day book. So now, let's note this. These documents can mean different things to different people. This invoice is used to the seller as sales day book, all right, seller, all right. Now, invoice to the buyer now is purchase day book. Are we together? Buyer. This is exactly what I have been trying to explain. Okay, this same document meaning different things to different persons. Now, okay, now let's continue. So the purchase day book is a subsidiary book, understood, of account used to record all goods bought or services received on credit from a third party in order which they concur, all right, or they occur irrespective of the amount. Okay, I think we are live again. It's it's a lot of distress tonight, but all right, a lot of distraction here and there, but I believe we can achieve something. All right, so as I was saying, it is a document, all right, used to record all goods bought and services received on, all right, on credit. Okay, on credit by okay, received on credit from a third party, all right, in order which they occur, in the order which they occur irrespective of the amount, all right, in the order other, okay, in the order in which they occur, irrespective of the amount. Okay, so we have that as that. So we have purchase journal. Please note that it is not an account. All right, purchase journal or purchase daybook is not an account. Just like we had the sales day. Miss Blessing came pretty late, but it's good to have you on board still. All right. Now, the purchase journal is not an account because it does not have a debit side or a credit side, just like the sales day book or the sales journal. All right. So the total of all credit purchases are recorded in the purchase journal for a particular period. All right. The total of all credit purchases, not credit sales, all credit purchases, the total are recorded in the purchase journal, all right, for a particular period, usually a month, all right, which is transferred to the debit side, all right, of the purchase account in the ledger. All right, the process of transferring these details to the ledger is what we call posting. All right, don't forget that. Now, this is achieved for all credit purchases by crediting the supplier or seller, all right, accounts with individual amounts of each suppliers and debits the buyer. All right. So the okay, that's the creditor, and the buyer is being debited. Who happens to be the purchaser. All right, purchaser. Now, let me explain this. Usually, as a supplier, you are selling. All right, so it should not be on the credit side, it should be on the debit side because money is coming in. All right, no, if it's not sales credit, it's not a credit sales. In this case, the buyer is to be debited, all right, and the purchaser and the seller is to be credited. That's the normal thing. That's like normal sales. Because when we say the debit side now, money is coming in. The credit side means money is going out. All right. But in the case of purchase sales journals or purchase sales book, purchase day book, in the case of purchase day book, it's a different ball game. Now, the supplier here who is selling is being credited, meaning that the thing acknowledged here is that goods are going out. That's why it's credited. These goods that are going out too, they are not yet paid for. All right. So goods are leaving, and the buyer here receives the goods. All right. So in a proper, now don't forget, we said on the ledger now, this man becomes, all right, debited. Why? On the ledger, this man becomes, the supplier becomes debited because now money is coming in. All right. It's not a case of the goods were sold, but payment has not been made. And that's why it is showing credit here. All right. And on the side of the buyer, is showing debit because goods came in for him and here the goods went out. If it was a case of sales, not on credit, it's going to be reverse. Reverse is going to be the case. All right. So we have, so sorry, I apologize. And if I have a way of doing it, I will have controlled the network to work better, but it's quite beyond my power. All right, it's quite beyond my reach. So we have that as that. So permit me to raise the ball so that we can take more points. All right. Can take more points. Now, are we together? Yes, yes. Now, purchases and discounts. Okay. Now, the discount available for buying goods on credit at the point of purchase is called trade discounts. All right. Trade discounts. Okay. This is the discount available. All right. This is the discount available. All right. Available when buying. All right. This is the discount available when buying goods on credit at the point of purchase. All right. This is the discount available when buying point of buying goods on credit. Okay, it's called the purchase discount. All right, the trade discount. Now we have that as that. So very quickly, let's talk about the return inward journal. Okay, the return inward. All right, we have the return inward journal. Okay, now the return inward journal, the another name for the return inward journal, all right, is what we call return inward daybook or return or sales return book. Return inward daybook. All right, return inward daybook or sales return book. Sales return book. Return inward daybook or sales return book. Another name for a return inward journal. Now, what do we mean when we say return inward journal? All right. Now, this is a book used to record, all right, goods previously sold. Okay. Let's underline the word. I think I should have marked up for that. Returns. All right. Before you can have this, that means there was a point at which these goods were bought. They left the suppliers. All right. So now we can only have return. All right. If goods had at a point been sold out, had left, all right, the base of production, then maybe for a reason or two, it was now returned. Now listen, this is a book used to record goods. Okay, goods that goods previously sold to customers but were later returned by the buyer, all right, to the seller either in whole or in parts, probably as a result of the following: 1, wrong specification; when we say wrong specification now, it could be maybe the customer ordered for model 20, you give her model 19.5. Okay, or maybe she ordered for model 20, you give her model 20, but what she wanted was color blue, you give her color red. All right, specification issues. Now defects. I remember then when I finished my secondary school, I think I remember when I finished my secondary school, I worked in this organization. I think that was the second place I worked after my first school. I worked in this organization. That's Splendor. So I think Splendor Yogurt in Aja then. I think in Awuyaya Axis. Those of us that know Aja. I don't know if they are still in business. Splendor or something Splendor, or is it Splendid or Splendor Yogurt? So there are times whereby we work in the factory, we'll produce because based on order, we'll produce 300 crates. Okay, so these 300 crates, maybe they are taking it to Aba, or they are taking it to Onitsha, or they are taking it to Port Harcourt, or they are taking it to Kaduna or Kano. Maybe out of these 300, on the way of delivering these goods, because of bad road, accident, or something happened. Now don't forget, the moment those goods leaves the company, there's a record for it. All right, they are being paid for their orders because they have to order, they will make their order. So they've already paid for this order. So on the process of getting it to them, maybe because of bad road or maltreatment or something, out of 300 crates, 2 crates, all right, got bad. Maybe the cover, maybe during the bad road, the cover just broke and it spilled. It's a normal thing. Returns is a normal thing. Especially these people that does ice cream, that sells ice cream. I remember when I was very young, because my mom's shop was very close to this one that does ice cream. You see them bringing goods back. They're okay. This one's melt. They melt already, and they melted and they couldn't sell them. Right? Everyone wants to drink ice. It's called iced cream, for crying out loud, not melted cream. All right. So those are returns. They've left already. It would have been a different case. Okay, this man took 20 ice creams today and he sold all 20. But it's a different case when he took 20 ice creams, he sold 16 and returning 4 as damage. All right. So that is defect. All right. We have disagreement. There could be disagreement, right, between the buyer and the seller that can be traced to either pricing, discount, payment. All right. You said I should pay 10,000 naira. But you promised to give me a discount. So why am I still paying 10,000 now? Disagreement has started. All right. It could be shortage. All right. It could be change in government policy. So now let's quickly take that down. So we have goods previously sold to customers. All right, goods previously sold to customers that were later returned. All right, goods previously sold to customers, but which have been bought, not that, but were later returned by the buyer to the seller. Buyer slash purchaser to the supplier slash seller. All right, as a result of the following reasons. Okay, so we have, it could be, like I said, it could be wrong specifications, like I explained earlier. Give me specification, give me color blue, you give her color white. Give me model 5, you give her model 2. All right, or you give her model 6. wrong specifications, all right, defects, all right, maybe something got bad, maybe the handle of the product got broken while they were trying to while it was being delivered, all right. It could be disagreement. Disagreement comes from, all right, from discounts, all right, or pricing or payment options, all right. Disagreement can come from any of these things. And we have shortage, all right, shortage, and we have change in government policy, all right. All these things might lead to why some goods are being returned. Okay, now we have that as that. Now please note that when goods are returned by the buyer to the seller, it means that the buyer will not pay. Aha, no payments for the portion of good returned. I'm not paying. I trust Nigerians. You are not paying, although it's a normal, it's a natural phenomenon. All right, why would you want to be paying for goods unless they are going to be replaced? All right, if they are going to be replaced, then all good. It's a win, although it's a win-win for the buyer. It's not as much of a win-win for the seller. All right, if such goods, like in our case now, any of the bad bottle, there's nothing we can do. No, ours is consumable. We have to dispose it, all right, and refill such or replace it already filled ones. All right, so it depends on the type of goods. If it's good that okay, the buyer can. I remember when I got the system to us to get work better and easier, and the hard disk has an issue. I had to return the system to where I got it from, all right, and they had to help me change the hard disk because the system wasn't working as fast as I wanted it, and I was able to call them, all right. So the hard disk now, the one in the system has to be changed. So the one they put inside, maybe they bought it or they got it from the shop or anything. I don't know. Mine is that my system is working perfectly. I paid for what I wanted and I'm getting what I wanted. All right. So for the seller now, switching the hard disk, how is she going to balance her account? All right. In such case now, the hard disk comes into this account. All right. Return inward. Okay. So we have that as that. So in this case, the buyer does not pay for the return goods. The buyer does not pay for the return goods. Okay, so we have that as that. Now, from the perspective of the seller, it is returned inward, all right, because the goods is coming back to the seller. All right, so the seller received the goods. Okay. Now, just like we have the purchase daybook and we have the sales daybook. Okay. Now, this return inward, all right, it affects the seller, right? All right. There's also something called return outward. All right, return outward. We'll talk about that subsequently. All right. So now, to show that a buyer will record it in a good return registry. All right. So return inward is also not a book of accounting. Okay, it's not a book of accounting. So we'll call it a wrap here for today, and in our next class we'll take it up from return outwards. All right. So thank you very much, everyone, and I sincerely apologize for this network issue. Please bear with us. All right, we are always looking for a way to serve you better. We're always looking for a way to ensure smooth experience, and we will not stop. We'll stop at nothing until we ensure this. I have intentions of giving us assignment today, but with the network issue, I'm sorry, I might not be able to do that. All right. So please let's keep our notes up to date. For those of us that have yet to become a member of the class, please do not hesitate to take advantage of this wonderful opportunity. And as TMA down, please note that as a member of the class, you get the price of the TMA slashed into two. It's just one of the benefits you're going to get in the private class among a lot of them. All right. So thank you very much, everyone, once again. Do have a wonderful night rest and a wonderful weekend ahead. I look forward to seeing you all in subsequent tutorials. Good night.